Imagine a man who has dominated Israel's political landscape for decades. A figure both admired and despised, celebrated as a protector by some, and condemned as an oppressor by others. He is one of the longest-serving prime ministers in Israel's history, a political survivor who has risen again and again from the ashes of scandal and electoral defeat. But behind the political triumphs lies a story of immense wealth, opulent residences, luxury cars, deep controversies, and, perhaps most importantly, the human cost of the decisions made under his leadership. Today, we dive deep into the world of Benjamin Netanyahu, his fortune, his homes, his lifestyle, the scandals surrounding him, and the undeniable shadow of the Palestinian question that haunts his legacy. As of 2025, Benjamin Netanyahu's estimated net worth hovers around 13 to 15 million US dollars. While this figure may seem modest compared to billionaires, it is significant for a career politician. His wealth has been built primarily from decades of political service, government salaries, and speaking engagements. Netanyahu also earned considerable income from book deals, with his autobiography and political writings selling widely in Israel and internationally. Reports have also suggested that, over the years, he and his family have received financial support and gifts from wealthy businessmen, a fact that later became central to several corruption allegations. Benjamin "Bibi" Netanyahu was born in 1949 in Tel Aviv, just 1 year after the founding of the State of Israel. He grew up in a household of intellectual rigor and strong Zionist values. His father, Benjamin Netanyahu, was a historian with deep influence on his son's worldview, while his mother, Zella, was a homemaker who supported the family's ambitions. At a young age, Netanyahu moved with his family to the United States, where he attended school in Pennsylvania, before returning to Israel for military service. He would later graduate from MIT in the US, blending both Western education and Israeli military discipline, a combination that shaped his future as a polished communicator and strategist. Netanyahu's career took off in the 1980s, when he served as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations. His articulate English, media savvy, and strong presence made him a rising star. By 1996, he became Israel's youngest prime minister. Though his early term was controversial, Netanyahu's true rise began in the 2000s, where he positioned himself as Israel's protector against Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. He would go on to become Israel's longest-serving prime minister, holding office for over 15 years across multiple terms. Under his leadership, Israel strengthened its ties with the United States, most notably under Donald Trump, who recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Yet Netanyahu's reign was also marked by corruption scandals, political infighting, and global outrage over Israel's policies in Gaza and the West Bank. No account of Netanyahu is complete without the scandals. He has faced multiple corruption cases, including allegations of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. Critics point to lavish gifts, such as expensive cigars, champagne, and jewelry, received by him and his wife, Sarah Netanyahu, from wealthy businessmen. In 2019, Netanyahu became the first sitting Israeli prime minister formally indicted. Still, he managed to cling to power, casting the charges as part of a political witch hunt. Despite these scandals, his political resilience has been unmatched, surviving elections that many thought would end his career. Netanyahu's most well-known residence is the official prime minister's residence in Jerusalem, a compound featuring secure offices, lavish living spaces, and facilities for official state business. Beyond this, he also owns a private villa in the exclusive town of Caesarea, one of Israel's most expensive coastal areas. The Caesarea home boasts sweeping views of the Mediterranean Sea, modern architecture, and luxurious interiors, a world away from the daily struggles of ordinary Israelis and Palestinians. Critics have often pointed to the extravagant costs of maintaining these residences, especially at a time when Israel faces economic challenges. Reports highlight expenses such as private chefs, personal cleaners, and even ice cream bills running into thousands of dollars annually. To Netanyahu's critics, these expenses symbolize the gap between his elite lifestyle and the realities of average citizens. While Netanyahu is not known as a car enthusiast in the traditional sense, his position has afforded him access to top-of-the-line vehicles. His official motorcade includes armored luxury sedans, often BMWs and Audis, customized with bulletproof glass and advanced defense systems. These cars are less about luxury and more about security, but they still represent the high level of protection and exclusivity surrounding his life. In addition, Netanyahu has been linked to occasional use of private jets for diplomatic missions, often funded by wealthy supporters, which has sparked controversy in Israeli media. When speaking about Benjamin Netanyahu, it is impossible to ignore one of the most defining and controversial aspects of his political career: his stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For decades, Netanyahu has been one of the most vocal defenders of hardline security policies, emphasizing Israel's right to protect itself. However, these policies have often come at a devastating cost for the Palestinian people, sparking fierce criticism not only from within Israel, but from the international community at large. Under Netanyahu's leadership, Israel has been accused of carrying out disproportionate military actions in Gaza, leading to the deaths of thousands of civilians, including women and children. Human rights organizations such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have documented what they describe as violations of international law, ranging from indiscriminate bombings to restrictions on humanitarian aid. Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble, and the blockade on Gaza has left millions of Palestinians struggling for basic necessities such as clean water, food, and electricity. Beyond the battlefield, the expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank has been another flashpoint. Critics argue that these settlements, which continue to grow despite international condemnation, undermine any prospects for a two-state solution. The United Nations has repeatedly called for a halt to such activities, labeling them illegal under international law. But Netanyahu has defended them as both a security necessity and a fulfillment of Jewish historical rights. The global response has been both loud and divided. On one hand, staunch allies like the United States have often provided unwavering diplomatic and military support, blocking resolutions at the UN Security Council aimed at sanctioning Israel. On the other hand, countries across Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East have accused Netanyahu's government of perpetuating an apartheid-like system. Mass protests have erupted worldwide, from London and Paris to New York and Istanbul. Demonstrators demand justice for Palestinians and an end to the violence. Even within Israel, Netanyahu's policies have polarized public opinion. While many Israelis credit him with ensuring national security and defending the state against its enemies, others criticize his uncompromising stance for deepening divisions and prolonging a cycle of violence. For Palestinians, his name has become synonymous with occupation, suffering, and lost hope for peace. In essence, Netanyahu's legacy is inseparably tied to the plight of the Palestinian people. Whether one sees him as a protector of Israel or as the architect of systematic oppression, the debates surrounding his leadership continue to shape not only Middle Eastern politics, but also the conscience of the world. Behind the political battles, Netanyahu is also a family man. He has been married 3 times, with his current wife, Sarah Netanyahu, often at the center of both public appearances and controversies. The couple has 2 sons, Yair and Avner, who have themselves become public figures, with Yair often stirring controversy through outspoken social media posts. Despite the chaos of politics, Netanyahu has personal passions. He speaks fluent English, enjoys public speaking, intellectual debates, and reading history. Those close to him describe him as intensely disciplined, often rising early in the morning to review global news before starting his day. His critics, however, argue that he is obsessed with power, rarely separating personal ambition from national duty. Benjamin Netanyahu's story is one of power, resilience, and relentless controversy. He has amassed wealth, enjoyed luxury, and built a global reputation as one of the most influential leaders of the 21st century. Yet, his legacy will forever be shadowed by the accusations of corruption, the costs of his lavish lifestyle, and above all, the human tragedy of the Palestinian conflict under his leadership. So, what do you think? Is Benjamin Netanyahu a strong leader who safeguarded Israel's survival, or a controversial figure whose policies brought endless suffering to millions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden wealth and power of world leaders.